Namaste, India. My name is Hemant Patel. Today, I would like to discuss about the glorious India, India's good side, bad sides, problems, and possible solutions in my perspective. Let me start with my introduction first. As I said, my name is Hemant Patel. I born in India, grew up in small village called Art near Navsari in Gujarat. I completed my mechanical engineering in SVNIT Surat. Then I worked first few years of my career in Gujarat Electricity Board. Then I migrated to America 25 years ago, finished my master's degree in computer science, currently working in a multinational company called Alcatel-Lucent for past 16 years as a software engineer. So during this career, I have mixed experiences, some experiences in India and some experiences in America. I don't have much experience, but I feel I have enough to share with you guys today. I never planned for this kind of speech, but currently I was listening Rajiv Dixit, and I'm really inspired by Rajiv Dixit, Gandhiji, and my current trip to India. I am no way expert in anything that I am going to talk or discuss today. And I believe there is no expert in this world or in any field. So I don't know much about politics. I don't know much about religious things. I don't know much about law. I don't know much about my own field, mechanical engineering and computer science. So with that, still I would like to discuss whatever I think appropriate to make India a better country. I will be using a lot of numbers during this speech, and I really suggest to you that please don't hang up with numbers. In my mind, numbers are just used to make your point, to give a reference, to give some perspective. It should be accurate at certain level in certain places, but it should not be always be accurate all the time. As long as it is good enough to prove your point, I think that should be good enough. In our mechanical engineering, we always assume that there is no way we can manufacture something with 100% accuracy. That is our first assumption. If we want to manufacture, let's say, 10 centimeter bolt, we design the drawing in such a way, we find the maximum length that can function properly, and we find the minimum length that can function properly for our purpose. So for that example, if we want to manufacture 10 centimeter bolt, we will never ask that the manufacturing company that make this bolt exactly 10 centimeter, because we know from our heart there is no way anybody can make the 10 centimeter bolt. So instead of that, we ask that, okay, make 10 centimeter plus and minus 0.5 centimeter. So in other words, now manufacturing company anywhere in the world, if it is in China, they know exactly what to do. They are allowed to make that bolt between 10.5 centimeter to 9.5 centimeter. And we know as soon as that bolt comes to us, if it is between that range, we are okay because we know it is going to function. So the whole point is the numbers are important, but the accuracy depends for what purpose you are going to use. So I will have a lot of numbers. It will be accurate, but it will not be 100% accurate, but it will be accurate enough to prove my point. And I believe this is probably one of the reasons the acceptance of inaccuracy in engineering makes that field above many other fields. I'm sure you must have noticed that in past 50 years, the engineering, technology, science field has advanced so much. I would say in the advancement in past 50 years is probably much more than past 1,000 years. So the engineering technology has tremendous advancement in past 50 years. And I think the other fields like politics, law, religion, they should learn something about this tolerance. They should not hang up with numbers and fight for accuracy, go with fact check and reality check and all those kind of things. It is necessary, but not absolutely necessary, just like our engineering field. The acceptance of inaccuracy is very important. If other field would have accepted this kind of inaccuracy, and if they followed the engineering laws, then probably this world would have been a better place. Could be like a heaven. Maybe there won't be any poor people. So anyway, these are my philosophical thoughts that what the other fields should be learning from engineering and technology. Now, I am going to cover a lot of areas, and probably this speech will be around 3 hours. I really suggest that you really listen this entire speech. The portion of speech would not make much sense. You will not get the context. However, I am going to divide this speech into multiple pieces. But as I said, if you just listen the small piece, it may not give the exact context. So please, if you have time and if you are interested, if you want to learn about India, I am going to talk very good things about India. I am going to talk some problems and issues and solutions about India. So if you have time, please listen the entire speech. It will be around 3 hours, but I am sure it will be worth time spending. Instead of watching one movie or serials, probably you will learn something about India and world and the engineering technology. So with that, as I discussed earlier, how India's democracy was killed from day one. In 1947, when Jawaharlal Nehru when Jawaharlal Nehru stole the Prime Minister's position from Sardar Patel, I think that was the time when our democracy was killed. We ended up with Kashmiri problem. China defeated us in 1962. Then we had a very great Prime Minister, Lal Bahadur Shastri. He defeated Pakistan very badly in 1965. And then suspiciously, He died in Tashkent. And suddenly, Indira Gandhi became a prime minister for 16 years. So during this past 57 years of governance, we had only 10 good years, and in rest of the time there were very bad governance. And because of that, our good people, our educated people started to lose interest from political process. They started to move away from political process. And now we are paying a big price for that. How can we fix it? Well, I think our religious organizations, our religious leaders can play a big role over here. Our school, our parents can play a big role over here. We have to change the mindset of everybody, and we have to encourage everybody, not everybody, all those good people, to go into politics. Politics has a lot of power, much, much more power than what you can think of. And any power, if it is in bad person's hand, it is very dangerous. If it is in good people's hand, it's very good for society, for the country. So our religious leaders should encourage their people to involve, to engage in the political process. Give them a message that this is the best way to serve country or to society. Probably much better than staying in religious organization for entire life. So religious people can convert them into a good citizen with highest morality, with good ethics, and prepare them for political process. I think that would be a big help. And for normal people, just by talking or just by criticizing wouldn't help, wouldn't take us anywhere. Things won't change if we don't do anything. Without any action, nothing will change. So instead of talking, instead of criticizing, let's do something. If we are not doing anything, then probably we don't have even right to criticize something. That is my opinion anyway. So with that thought, I have my personal experience. Again, normally I don't like to bring up my experiences, but in order to make my point, I have to, otherwise without experience or without some connection, this kind of messages doesn't go anywhere, doesn't mean anything. I can deliver a nice written speech, but if there is no connection, I don't think that makes any difference in anybody's mind. And at the same time, I hate to bring up also. But anyway, I have a small experience. As I said earlier, I work for a multinational company where we had about 800 Indian engineers at one location. And we have a very big Indian association in that company. Very strong, very powerful. But when I joined 16 years ago that company, I was new And I was listening from other members many times whenever we get together, lunch or chatting anywhere or talking even at home, I mean outside of company. The many time people were talking negative about those association, criticizing as usual, like we normally we criticize a lot about our politics and our organizations. So this is nothing new. It was going on. They were talking about bad governance, and so I have a two thing. So I started to counter argue that, friends, I mean, if we, not, as I said, nothing is going to change if we just keep talking. If you really think there is something need to be changed, and if you have capability, then go and change it. So there are two things. If you think there need some changes, and you are capable to change, make those changes, then go and change it. Right? And that is the time I started to get engaged with our Indian association. I started to work very hard. I started to work with all those president, chairmen, board members at that time. And for 2 years I worked with them. And at the end, I think I earned that position. I'm not saying we had a democratic election and I became a president, chairman of that association. Now, my point is in this kind of associations, organization, this kind of position should be earned. You should work hard to deserve that those positions. It's not the position just for the sake of getting those positions, but you should earn those positions. Now, one more thing I would like to bring up here is, like, whenever people criticize this kind of associations or organizations or non-profit organizations, I think we should be extra careful. We should be extra sensitive for those associations. They are not like a political positions. They are not like MLAs, MPs, or chief minister position where they are paid. They are paid, they are well treated, they have cars, they have a lot of benefits, and that is their full-time job. But in most of these associations, non-profit organizations, those people who are working very hard are not paid. They are putting their own time. They have full-time job, they have family, they have kids, and still they put their own time, their family's time, their kids' time, and serve those associations. I agree, there are many people in many associations, many organizations. They are power hungry and they are there for wrong reasons. I agree, but not all. So whenever we criticize, we should be extra careful. So anyway, I became president for that association. We had a nice, our team, we had a nice, huge, nice board members, board. And I think we did pretty much a good job. With everybody's help, our association became very powerful, strong. We did so many activities in the past so many years. For example, we had a fundraising for last tsunami in Asia. We raised about $150,000, $150,000 we had a fundraising for Gujarat earthquake. We had fundraising for September 11. And we had, all those kind of things. But anyway, when I became a president, it is not because I wanted to be. I never wanted to be a president, but I thought that if I become a president, I can serve that association in better way. I can make a bigger differences because I will have some kind of power. I will have some kind of authority that I can use in a better way. And that is the reason I decided, and many of my friends, they also pushed me for that position. So, one more thing that most people will think, most good people will think. They will always underestimate. Like when I became a president, I was kind of hesitant, I was kind of nervous, I was thinking that probably I will not be able to serve the way I am thinking of. So you always have that kind of nervousness, at least I would say for some people. And for those who really are just power hungry, I don't think they have that kind of feeling that if they will be able to serve or not, because they just want to have that power. And those who really want to serve will have this kind of thinking in the beginning. But believe me, you can do it. If I can do, you can definitely do it much better than me. So if you think you can make any difference in any association, any organization, or in politics, and if you are a good person, if you are a good human, then please go there and take those positions. You will make a big difference there. If you don't go, someone else will go there, and it will destroy that association or the country or the society. So that is my message. And whenever you are in this kind of association, you have to work with honesty, with integrity, and you have to stand up whenever it is necessary. You have to raise your voice whenever it is needed. You have to maintain the highest level of integrity. Accounting is one of the most important thing in any association, in any organization. It has to be crystal clear. I am differing here with my own logic. I mentioned in my another speech that acceptance of inaccuracy is acceptable at certain level. But in this condition, if you are managing any association, the accounting has to be perfectly maintained. If you don't, then that association will not be successful. If you have a business, you can afford to have certain inaccuracy. But if you are in this kind of association or a public position, accounting has to be perfect. So that is my second message. I have another example to demonstrate how person can stand up whenever it is necessary. And this example is also from the same company that I have been working. Over there we also have a huge Asian association. And every year we used to have a huge conference we call Professional Development Day. We used to have in a big auditorium, and 1,500 Asian engineers get together in those auditorium with a lot of activities, lot of speeches, and every year that was happening. When I joined, that was my first professional development day. We went there, everybody were like suited, booted, ties, in a very good mood, lot of activities, and I would like to highlight one speech there. So we had some motivational speeches. One of the motivational speech was from our company's vice president. He happened to be Indian origin as well. And he started his speech, and I don't know for what reason, he started to blast India. All negativism in his motivational speech. All kind of negativism. So, obviously, me and most people could not stand up in front of 1,500 engineers. And those engineers were not only Indians. There are engineers from Japan, China, Singapore, all those Asian countries. It's not only Indians. So we felt bad. Anyway, the next night I could not sleep well, and next morning when I went to my office, I just started to write email, and I wanted to respond. I wanted to send that email to all the attendees in that conference the previous day. So in that email, I had 3 basic messages for all the attendees and the vice president who delivered that speech. My first message was, as a motivational speaker, that speaker should be talking positive or good thing about India. Or at least if he talk negative about India, he should balance out negative and positive together. If he talk negative, then he should have some kind of solution, some ideas. Just talking negative doesn't go anywhere, and it is not motivating. If he really wanted to motivate us, he would have found thousands of good examples and thousands of pages of material to share with us. But somehow, instead of talking positive, he chose to do all the negativism. So that was my first point, that you should not be talking negative in a motivational speech. And especially when there are engineers from other countries. If we are family, probably we can talk negative about our own country or about our family. But when people from other countries, I think we should not be talking those things. So anyway, that was first point. The second and important point was that vice president and us. So my message was, sir, whatever you are and whatever we are today are because of our poor people in India. They are the one who paid for our education. As you know, about 25, 30 years ago in India, the education for education was free. And nothing is free in this world, right? Someone has to pay. And who pays? Most of the time, those poor people. Those middle class people pays taxes and they pays their fair share. Not the rich people. They have their ways to escape for paying to government. So anyway, so my message was that these poor people paid for our education, we took that free education and we left them over there. We came here, we are building our career, and now we are looking down to them, which is not right, which is not correct, which is not fair, which is not humanly. So instead of helping them, instead of giving them back, now we are putting them down. So that was my second message. Third message was that you should not be comparing America versus India. The simple reason is India is a 1,000-year-old country. They have their own isolated people over there, whereas America is a new country. And all the cream from whole world came over here. They have very strong visa process where they filtered people. So the engineers like us are free for them. Our country, our poor people paid for our education and we came here, so this is like a free engineers for them. Free doctors. And they are the one who contributing to this society, this country, and definitely it helps America. So we cannot compare. I gave an example that if we build a world cricket team by picking up 2-3 good cricketers from each country, and then we play the world cricket team versus India, and then we say that, hey, world cricket team is much better than Indian cricket team. Obviously, there is no doubt about it. Right? So same thing. We cannot compare America and India. Is not apple-to-apple comparison. So that was my third message. So in that email I had 3 messages. Talk positive, and remember those who paid for our education, and we cannot compare 2 countries. So those are my 3 messages. Anyway, I had that email ready. I was trying to send to those 1,500 attendees. I started with the organizer at that time. I sent them, and obviously they did not like. I mean, personally they would have, I'm sure they liked, but as an organizer they never wanted to send that email to all 1,500 engineers over there. So I struggled for 1 week, and they did not allow me, they did not send that email to all the attendees. In the meantime, I was also showing to my friend that, hey, this is the email that I'm going to blast to all the attendees over there. My friends were kind of scared about me that, hey, this is not something, it looks great, but it's not probably good for you personally. You might end up losing your job. So anyway, those are the reactions. But anyway, after 1 week, after they did not send my email, so I sent by myself to all our Indian engineers. And within a second, that email created, a big churn. It inspired all those other engineers. There were so many engineers, they were upset because of that negativism they heard in that conference, and they also wanted to speak out. So I created that media for everybody, and there were so many emails after my email, and they were also supporting me that whatever I did was the right thing, and they also put their own experiences and their opinions and views. So anyway, that became a big deal. And so most people were very happy about me, and but at the end, those as usual, those organizers were not happy with me. As I said, personally, probably they were, but as a being organizer, they wouldn't like this kind of criticizing for the event that they organize. So I have no doubt, I have no problem with them. It's usual things. So they had their own meeting, and then from their meeting they called me, and They say, yeah, Hemant, you should not be writing this kind of email, and you should apologize for whatever you have done. I say, no, I cannot, I don't feel sorry, and I am not going to apologize, because whatever I have done, I'm really proud of it, and it was necessary, and I don't think I have done anything wrong, so I am not going to apologize. There was a threat also that if I don't apologize, then I might end up losing my job. Now remember one thing over here. For me and for most of many engineers in early 90s, we struggled 6 to 7 years. We had to struggle to get the job that I had at that time. It was very difficult time to get a good job in America. For engineers, doctors was not that easy. We sacrificed our prime time of our life, 6 to 7 years struggling. And finally I had that job. So it was very hard to get job, and it was very hard to continue and maintain those kind of jobs. But I reached to the point where probably I was about to lose it again. So anyway, I was ready to sacrifice that job that I had to struggle to get that. But today I felt really proud of it. Whatever I did it, I have done it, and that is the reason I wanted to share with you guys. If anybody, at least if one person get my message and can inspire or motivate, that if I can do this kind of small thing, you can always do a much bigger thing than me. And that is the only reason I am bringing up my small experiences. Otherwise, I really don't like to do that. And I'm sure most of my family members, my relatives, most of my friends, they don't know anything about this thing, what I have done 25 years ago when I was about 22-year-old, 23-year-old, when whatever I have done 16 years ago, nobody has any idea, because I don't talk. I don't like to brag about me. I really don't. And that is the reason when they will see this speech, most of them will be surprised. They will be happy, I'm sure, but they will be surprised that, hey, we don't know anything about Hemant. But the reason is I don't like to brag about me. But over here, I wanted to bring, because otherwise the message that I'm trying to send will not go anywhere. That is the only reason I'm trying to bring up my small experiences here and there to tie with my messages. I hope you will take it with the right context. I also wanted to bring up one small example, which is kind of sensitive. Just wanted to add about my experience. When I became a chairman of that association, I had a small speech after, and then I sent an email to all of our members, thanking them for their support and our future plan and all those kind of things. And suddenly, within a few seconds or few minutes, I got the response back from one of our member. I know that person, very good, very genuine person. But again, with that kind of mindset, with a brain washed kind of this kind of positions or political, seem to be like political positions, and are not for us, is not good. The same thing that I was talking about, that why the most people are staying away from those kind of associations or political processes. So that person sent me an email that, Hemant bhai, congratulations, and by the way, now you can go for the Prime Minister's position in India. So I was just laughing, and because I know that person very well, very good person, but his mindset is kind of different because of his other association with other things. So my point is, I think his message was very sarcastic. It was not really a congratulating message, but it was a sarcastic message that Hemant Bhai, these are not good thing to be. As a good human being, probably he was giving me a message that this is not the good thing to be. If you really want to do something, maybe go somewhere else and join some religious association or something like that. But I felt like that was not the congratulating message, but it was very sarcastic to me, and that was just because of the mindset that our people has developed in last 57 years or last 67 years of bad governance in India. Now, I talked a lot about politicians, government employees, rich people. But I truly agree it's not only them. Many educated people are also corrupted. Many engineers, doctors, teachers, lawyers, professors, talatis, mamlatdars, and so many of those, they are educated, well educated, and still doing bad things. So education does not guarantee. But still education is required, so that is why I was emphasizing. Otherwise, many educated people are corrupted. In fact, I believe that only those villagers, poor people, uneducated, they are probably the least corrupted in our country, right? They are the least, or probably zero corruption. I mean, they are corruption free, not doing anything illegal for them or for the country. Most probably they are not doing anything illegal. And they are the only one most sufferer. They are the sufferer of all of us, educated people, political people, government employees. So our poor people in villages or in cities, they don't have much. They are not corrupted, but they are the ones suffering the most. As I said, even teachers are involved in this kind of thing. I have my own small example. I don't want to tell it's a big of a deal, but I think it's a good thing to bring up. When I was studying, even in my primary school or high school or 11th, 12th, especially in 11th, 12th, I was studying in the best possible high school in Navsari, Madrasa. And I noticed as soon as I went there, out of 110 science students, about 100 students were taking tuition classes in different classes. Even some students were taking 3 classes, 4 classes, 5 classes, biology, mathematics, physics, and all those. So out of 110, I don't know the exact numbers, but something like that. 110, about 100 were taking classes, and 10 of us did not take a class. My father told me many times that, Hemant, if you really want to take a class, I am okay with you. We have enough money to do that. I also knew at that point that our financial situation was good enough to support my tuition classes. But I say no. I say no, I don't want to take classes because I don't believe in it. It's unfair to those who cannot afford the classes. And this is completely a parallel education system running parallel to the real school, which is dangerous, which is not good. So that was my understanding when I was in 11th grade. I said, I don't want to take classes. People were saying, if you want to be engineer or doctor, you should go these classes. Otherwise, there is no way I can be engineer. I said, I'm fine. If I don't become engineer, I'm fine. But I don't want to take these classes because this is unfair. It it helps all this illegal money. It creates inequality. And I remember those teachers were making maybe 100 times more in tuition classes than in their own salary in the school. And so what happened in the school when they come, they were not even really wanted to teach. They just come for time passing. Because out of 100 students were taking his own class outside. So he don't bother to teach. It was just a fun. They were enjoying playing games, that kind of situations. So who were suffering? Those 10 of us never wanted to take classes. So we never took those classes. So that was my first life experience. Now I realize that I think that was, at that time I didn't think too much, but now I think I did a good thing about that. At least I opposed myself, only myself. I never talked to anybody, nothing, complete quiet until today. And but I opposed because I thought it was unfair to the students. And you know now that most of those students were involved in this illegal activity, and the teacher also. And that was my point, that how the other educated people are involved in this kind of illegal or corruptive activities. So that is my own simple small experience. And probably that can be a small message to all the students and the teachers, that if you want, you can oppose this way, or you can stop, or you can do something about the tuition classes. As I previously stated, let me go to my little experience with corruption, and how I confronted those corruption about 25 or 27 years ago when I was in India. My job in Gujarat Electricity Board, probably a very fresh graduate, just 22-year-old, 22, 23, and I had that one of the best job one can have. Even today, it's considered to be the best job to have. But I have some experience with the corruptions, or I would say illegal activities during that time frame. It's a semi-government, so you can expect those kind of things, right? My first exposure, I started as a junior engineer on Ukai thermal power plant. I was in a maintenance department. I noticed that most of many engineers, they were very dedicated engineers, but at the same time there were many engineers. They were not doing much or maybe nothing. They were busy with their own stock markets and their own personal life, and not contributing much to the power plant, to the company. So what was happening, that we had the technicians also. They are the one really maintain our equipments and fix those problems, issues. So what I noticed, that most of the time the technicians were not working during that normal daily shift. They will just hang out here, there, talking, go to canteens, eat, and they just spend their time. And almost at the end of the day, they would come to engineer and say, "Sir, we could not finish this so and so, and we will have to stay longer tonight for the overtime. And engineer would agree with them, right? Even they are not doing anything, they don't care. And the technician would spend few hours, but at the morning when they come, engineer comes and says, sir, I work for 10 hours, 12 hours. Sometimes when you calculate the time, it is not impossible. I mean, the mathematically it wouldn't match, right? But still they claim that we work this many hours, and engineer would approve. So that thing was going on. I realized that, hey, this is not something right. So I started to take interest in that, and obviously within few months I learned a lot. I became extremely technically sound, I would say, technically sound, and I started to take control on those teams. And what I did that, okay, every morning I divide our team into multiple few small teams and attack each equipment at a time. I said, okay, this particular team go to this equipment, go to compressor, other go to this big pump, go to the other pipelines or so and so, and divide the whole team. And as soon as they go, right behind them, I go with them. And I stay with them all the time. Normally, no engineer was doing that part. At that time, I don't know now. So I go the first team, I say, okay, what is going on is you try to understand. They will try to find all kind of excuses. They say, sir, we don't have this spanner, we don't have that, this is too tight, this is too corroded, this is that, blah, blah, blah. But somehow I had instantaneous answer within a second. Okay, go this. If you don't have this spanner, go to this department, bring it that, or use these, blah, blah, blah. And I was completely engaged with them. And I am a mechanical engineer, so I know the things I supposed to. I go to one team, go to other team, same thing. Whole day I'm just running around between them, here, there. And obviously you will find at the end of the day, we have completed our work. So there was no point. They could not even dare to come to me and say, sir, we need extra overtime. Right? So we stopped overtime. I think they were getting 1.5 time or 2 time. I don't know exactly. I think 2 time, but anyway. So we stopped overtime. Then the time came for shutdown. Shutdown means we stopped the entire whole power plant. It's a huge power plant. Turbines, boilers, generators, all those things. We stopped for a month or 2 months to do the regular maintenance or modifications, changes or big thing. And when we do a lot of big things, the whole plant has to be shut down. And that is the prime time for all those people, those technicians, for making overtime. Because that is the prime time. And I started my same philosophy, same technique. Every morning, we divide our work into multiple teams. I stay with them all 8 hours. And look, we were able to stop that overtime. Again, at the end of the day, there was no overtime. So for whole month, no overtime. Again, I became like a popular in the power plant. It was a huge plant. About 1,000 engineers were working at that time, probably. So people realized that, hey, this is a new guy. Just within a few months, he stopped the overtime. That was kind of a history. I don't want to brag, but it was kind of a history. Many people again, oh, are you Hemant Patel? Yes. If you did a good job, you stopped the overtime, which was never done before. People could not even dream about it. So anyway, I was able to do. I am really proud, and my message to other people, it can be done. If you are still working on those kind of power plants or any big industry or in government jobs, it's doable. You can do it. I have nothing to do with those technicians. They were working hard too. But, because of the process, because of the whole situation, nobody cared. No engineers or the higher authority never cared about them, and the people will take advantage of it. And when the other engineers wouldn't do too much, I mean, it is a wrong message to other people too. So that was the thing going on. So I worked 1 year over there, just 1 year. And within a 1 year, after 1 year, I was transferred to Saurashtra in a small department. And normally at that time it was like a saying, or it was believed, or it was like considered that when engineer goes from Gujarat to Saurashtra, most probably is because of some kind of punishment. Because normally Gujaratis, I mean, from in our area, they normally don't like to go and work in Saurashtra. I don't know what was the reason at that time, but that was the reason, that was the thing, and it was believed to be a punishment. So for me, anyway, it happened. I don't know why, and I was over there. So for first 15 days, I was completely disappointed because the only thing we were doing was installing a new electrical lines in farming land. So being a fresh mechanical engineer, obviously I wasn't happy with the type of work I was going to be engaged. So I wanted to leave the GEB. I sent letters to a few of my friends that, hey, I want to come back. I don't want to work for GEB. But anyway, within 15 days, I started to notice, I smell the corruption surrounding me. And that is the thing attracted me again, that, okay, wow, this is something challenging for me. So I started to engage again. So I will give few examples in my short experience over there. My first experience was, I heard that there is a new electrical line is being constructed in so-and-so village, and something fishy going on as usual. So one day I asked my driver, said, let's go to this village. He said, this is not your scope, sir. I said, I know. I'm a brand new engineer, just not even 1 month. This is not my scope. This is all my other engineers or my boss's scope to deal with this kind of situations. I understand that, but let's go and take a look what's going on over there. So as soon as we go to that village, about 20, 30 people, the sarpanch and those, whatever the people from village, those people just rushed to us and just started to scream us, sir, you guys are bad people, you are looting and all bad words. I understand their frustration because that is what going on. They did not know me. I started to calm down. I say, I'm a new engineer and probably I'm here trying to help. I don't guarantee, but I will try my level best if I can do something for you guys. I said, what is your issue? They say, sir, look at this electrical line exactly going through middle of all of our farming land, which is not good. If you are a farmer, you will understand probably. The new electrical line in middle of your farming land is not good. You are dividing your land. I say, yeah, you have a point. And I thought about it and I say, okay, within few minutes, I say, okay, if you just divert this line a little bit on the boundary of that field, probably it might cost one more electrical pole and a little bit more electrical wire, but nothing much more than that. But it would be a big advantage, a big help to those poor farmers. So right away I understood. And I had that contractor also joined to me, and then contractor, okay, so I understood, and I talked to that contractor because he was with me. I say, hey, come on and make another line. I mean, only thing he did was he just digged the hole. So I say, just go around and go from the boundary of this farming land. Then contractor says, sir, what about my holes he already digged? I say, okay, yeah, that's true. Then I ask those farmers that, hey, just go ahead and dig this new hole. We will have a new marking. Dig hole by yourself. And so that's how the contractor will not have to deal with anything. Farmers were very happy, absolutely very happy. And I asked them, and we agreed, right? Now, so that is one thing what happened. So, I mean, so they agreed, and it was very big joy, and I can see the joy in their poor eyes. They took me their homes in their backyard. They have different kind of backyard. They took me over there, brought tea, and it was, I can't explain their joy and the respect they were giving to me. It's beyond my words. But I could read in their eyes that after so many years, some engineer came to them and wanted to help. Now, so yeah. Now, that is one side, but what is the back side? You will think, what is the big deal about it, right? What is the big deal? The big deal is this was done this way because it was the other engineers wanted to make money from them. The electrical lines were deliberately, they wanted to run middle of the farming land so that those poor farmers somehow get desperate, go to political people, go to their MLAs or PM, MPs or whoever, write out notes and wanted to fix. They go to the engineer, come back to engineer, and there is a money transfer. So that is how it was being done, and I realized that thing. I learned that this is what going to happen with these poor farmers. So the order was to install new lines in middle of the farming land, so this farmer will pay something to the engineers. That is called corruption. And that I wanted to stop, and at least for this particular example, I did it. So I ordered my contractor and farmers that dig a new hole on the boundary of the farming land, and we should be okay. Now I have to sell my decision to my boss, deputy engineer. So I came back to my office, and very innocently I started to talk my deputy, sir. I was just going through this village, and suddenly I saw this village, and I listened. I heard those poor farmers, and I think they had a good point, and I just agreed I just told contractor to set up a new electrical line. My boss was kind of upset, but I don't know, he thought I'm very innocent, and I wasn't innocent, but I had to do that. And he did not, he says, he was also telling me, sir, you should not be doing this. I mean, not sir, Sahib, Hemant Patel Sahib, Patel Sahib, you should not be doing, this is not your scope, you should not go even there. I say, yeah, sir, but I was just going there, and anyway, so that was one example. Then second example, the same place. Okay, So I was doing this kind, started to do this kind of thing. So one day, one person from industry over there, he came to me and he almost threatened me in kindly, not in bad words, but kindly or indirectly. He said, sir, in this over here, if engineers comes and if engineer work with us, that engineer or you will be very rich. You will have beautiful life. You don't have to even go to America. I say, yeah, that's true. I can see that. I don't have to go America. I can make more money here than America. No doubt about it. Then he said, but if you or any engineer don't work with our industrialist and political people over here, then there were incidents when engineers were thrown into the boiler, in the burning and into the burning boiler. You guys know, right? Boiler means they burn the engineers. So he said that those kind of incidents were there. I don't know the fact, but that was kind of a threat. But I knew that things could happen. Boiler or anything bad thing can happen if you don't align with your bosses or the political people over there or the industrialist over there. So that was the indirect message. I says, that's fine. I have nothing to worry about. I'm single. I'm just 22-year-old. If I have to die, I can die very easily. No problem. I can die, but I will not allow anything bad going on surrounding me. So that was 25, 27 years ago over there. So one day I came across, I don't know, I realized that there was something going on on the industrial. There was a sari, they were like painting sari, that kind of industry over there. So I learned that there's something fishy going on there. So I again talked to my driver. I said, let's go to this village, this farm, the far, deep farm, to see what's going on. So I took my driver and the one person from that industry that I want to inspect this thing. So my driver and only me, two people, started in a jeep. Half of the way, driver says, sir, that's it. I cannot go beyond this point because jeep, there's no good way for jeep. I said, wow, now I'm kind of scared. Now what to do? Then the industrialist guy was on a bullet on the motorbike with big mustache in Saurashtra. So I talked to my driver, okay, let me go with backside of this person. I was kind of a little bit scared, and now even my driver stayed in the middle of the way, and I started my journey with that on the motorbike behind that guy. I went to the farm. I saw a big transformer, electrical transformer, which was scheduled to be delivered, much farther than that day. Schedule-wise, it should not be running at that point, the point is. But it was all good, right? There is a scheduling system for new electrical lines. So it was out of that schedule, it was working, even though it should have been working 3-4 years down the line later, but it was working. So that was my first surprise. Then I went to the electrical lines going to the well, and well has a pump, electrical pump. I went there. I said, nice, they have electrical pump coming from that electrical transformer, which is kind of illegal. And the electrical pump, the outlet of water pipe going back into the ground. So I am surprised now, what is going on? Why? the outlet of water pump going back to the ground. So and it was freshly done, so I can see the marking. So the whole the water outlet was just going somewhere. So I traced, it was newly done, so I could see the trace. So I just walked. I followed the trace, and maybe maybe 2 kilometers later, that the water pipe which went inside came out, and it was actually out for the place where they wash sarees, because it belongs to that industry. So the whole point, the thing was that electrical line was applied for the farming use, but in fact it was used for the industrial use. Those who are familiar can understand what I mean. It's a huge, big difference by all means. By all means, there is a 180-degree difference between something used for farming versus something used for the industrial use. And that is the reason, as soon as the water pipe came from pump, it went inside a ground to fool around with engineers or us, and then kilometer or 2 kilometers later it came out for industrial use, which is absolutely wrong, which was illegal. It was bad. So that guy with me, he was surprised and said, what is going to happen now? He said, sir, who belongs to this farming and all those, this is a big industrialist. I say, yeah, I know that. I say, but I'm going to report. First of all, this transformer should not have been there. If it is there, it should be used for the farming use, not for the industrial use. So I write down something, whatever I had to, and came back. And again, it was not my scope of the work again. Okay, so I came back to my office again, pretended innocent, talked to my boss and said, sir, I just happened to go there and see this all illegal thing. Why did you go there? You don't have to, this is not your scope, and this, who those people are. They are in the big industrialists in this area, and they have a lot of connection with political MLAs, MPs, and all those things. They have connection with gundas, and you know what they can do. I say, yeah, they can throw me into the boiler. Then say, what do you want to do? I say, I want to report it because this is illegal, this is wrong. So I say, you really, are you serious about it? I say, yes, I want to report. I don't want to tell what happened after that, because you will realize. So these are few experience. The third experience, maybe minor experience, but it is significant, Then every day, or let's say we were traveling with our Jeep, right? So in Gujarat Electricity Board, we had they called, if we go more than 8 kilometers per day, they were paying us a special allowance for going more than, I forgot the real word. But if you travel more than 8 kilometers per day, they were paying extra money, and that was a big scam. So everybody, all the engineers and drivers, they were always up to that, even though they just go 2 kilometers. I mean, every day basically they will make up some story. They travel 10 kilometers, blah, 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 and making money. So whenever I was in the trip, I would say, no, sir, we did not go 8 kilometers. It wasn't, and we cannot claim. If I don't claim, then nobody else can claim. So that was kind of a big deal. My boss come to his Patel Sahib, come think about these poor drivers and other people. If you don't take this, if you don't claim 8 hours, it means nobody else can do. And those kind of things were happening. Anyway, those are few experiences over there. And Within maybe 2 to 3 months, I was transferred back to other power plant. So basically, I just stayed maybe 2 or 3 months. I don't know exactly. It's 25, 27 years ago. So, but whatever I learned, I still feel so much proud of myself. Maybe it's a small deal, but at that time, at my age and the time, I think it was something to be proud of. It's nothing comparable to the current corruption when they talk about hundreds and thousands of crores. Nothing compatible with that, but I am happy with my small exposure with this kind of corruptions. Then I came to power plant again just serving 2-3 months in Saurashtra. That was again a good time for me. I was involved technically heavy. I gave so many, at least 4 or 5 big technical improvements, technical modification design to BHEL Bill. They were the one were in designing and installing and erecting our power plant, and I found some ongoing problems and gave a good solution. BHEL were happy. They came to our power plant and they fixed those problems, and I think they fixed those same problems in other plants in India also. I met some of my best friends over there. Engineering were very dedicated, very talented. Even my boss at that time, very dedicated, very talented, very hardworking. I have a lot of respect, and I'm fortunate that I met those great engineers over there, and we worked together. I had one more experience since I wanted to talk about corruption. One place I found that there was one contract that was given to third party to let's say do some technical work right in our plant. And I was very dedicatedly working with my technician even during night time, spending my own personal time, my young age time, night time. I was with my technicians to finish that job. And suddenly I found from my technician that, yes sir, whatever we are doing actually is already contracted to the third outside company. So that blew my mind up. I said, what are you talking about? Yes, he said, yes, that's what's going on for a long time. There are many small contracts which is actually should be done by the outside the company, small contractors. And over here we are doing, even though it is not our job, but we are happy because we are getting this overtime. So we are happy. Everybody is happy. But actually it should be done by the third party. So again, I could not sleep the rest of night, and early in the morning, I created a big fuss in our office next morning, and it was a big deal. Anyway, I don't want to go too much detail. So those are the things. I don't know how much still going on, but if someone really want to do something about it, it can be done. If I can do, definitely you can do. You can do much, much better than me. These are the small things, but it's doable. It's nothing like impossible. And that is the only reason I wanted to share my small experiences. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but small learning lesson can be helpful. If it is helpful to someone, I feel worth that my attempt, my today's speech is worth something. So after that, I migrated to USA. So well, as a summary, I would just repeat few things. As I said earlier, I am not expert in anything. I am not expert in politics, religion, finance, not even in engineering. And I believe nobody is expert. So that's how I deserve to talk something what I know or my views. Most of them my personal opinions, views, they are views and opinions, but that can be, you may not agree with my opinions, views, because I know I blasted some of the areas. So you may not be happy with me, but please forgive me. But I don't think there is anything in my experience that those are the facts, those are the real thing. And if you like, please learn something from that. But most important, my intention is not to bring anybody or any group of people or politicians or anything down. My only intention is to bring up these issues and my thoughts, my opinions, and I thought there is something can be done. We are not going to change entire India or anything within a day or within few years, but if we have some kind of good start, it can result somewhere, or it can at least benefit somewhere along the line. So that is the only reason I came up with this speech. I was inspired by few people, Rajiv Dixit, Gandhiji, and many great people. So in summary, just think India was a glorious country few centuries ago. We invented a lot of good things, zero, pi, binary system, plane, right? Radio waves. Currently we are doing great. We have a Mars program. Only 4 countries in the world has Mars program. Only 9 countries has nuclear weapons. We are one of them. We are 7th richest, wealthiest country. We are 7th wealthiest country in the world. Unfortunately, our capital, unfortunately, we are 130th in capital wealth. But besides that, we are 7th wealthiest country in the world which has about 200 to 250 countries. We are 7th. We are 3rd in GDP currently. Our people are smart, intelligent. And my message is that our intelligence should be evenly distributed among all the fields, not only engineering, medical. It should be among all other areas, so the intelligent people can make some bigger differences in other fields as well. We have already proved engineering and science, which is on the top now. Can't imagine our science and technology can bring people to moon. There are many people, they cannot even go to the next street by themselves. Even if you give them a direction, they will not be able to go to the next street. Think about the science and technology. Now, human could go to moon. We are going to Mars. Who gives those directions? How these things are made? Amazing. Look at the ancient India. We have 3,000-year-old temples. They are still like us. Like, great. I don't have enough words. And another important message, I think I'm just keep repeating, all the smart people, intelligent people should start moving towards the political process. That's the only way to change India and to our political process. That is probably the best way to reduce corruption and inequality. So again, thank you very much for listening me. Jai Hind. And God bless India, America, and entire world. Once again, Jai Hind. Thank you. Bye.